So I want to challenge you on the question of a subsidy. Because the first price, the first factor in the price of fuel in Trinidad and Tobago is an international price, right? Which is a price that is set, not in Trinidad and Tobago, that is set by the traders and the speculators on the international petroleum market. That is the price that we start with. So that you start with that price, and then people don't know there's a whole load of taxes on the price of a liter of fuel. First you have excise duties, the customs. Then you have VAT, value-added tax, which is 15%. Then you have a road improvement tax of 5%. We ever hear the government account for the road improvement tax in any budget? They say how much millions of dollars they collect or whatever it is. Now, so my argument is that there's no subsidy, because the price of a liter of local crude, the cost of refining that local crude, the taxes you add on that local crude, the other costs in bringing that local crude to the gas station pump or to the overhead tank of a consumer has not been determined. It has not been made known to the public, right? And I am suggesting that the price is very, very much lower than the price that we pay at the pump, even with the taxes. I am making that argument, that a liter of local crude priced at the cost of producing that crude is much, much lower than the price of a liter of the refined product that we consume in our vehicles and so on, right? So that this question of a subsidy, and I want them to take up this challenge with me, or anybody else in the oil industry. What is this subsidy you all talking about? There's no subsidy. You have set the price of petroleum products in Trinidad and Tobago, not at the price of producing the product here, but at an international speculative price, based on market demands and supply and so on, right? Now, that is not to say that a certain amount of crude we produce, a certain amount of crude we run through the refinery in Trinidad and Tobago is not imported. Certainly, a lot of the crude is imported. But the fact is, and the question is, do we produce enough of local crude oil to produce fuels, gasolines and diesels and so on, to supply the local market? What is the relation of the production of local crude to the consumption of local refined products? And that is the question we have to ask, and that is the question the government, the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Energy must tell people when they're talking about subsidy. My view is that they're not subsidizing any product. They have put on the price of fuel that we consumed in Trinidad and Tobago an international price. In addition to that, they have loaded it up with taxes and excise duties, right? And then in return, they pay a subsidy to Petrotrin and NP at the international price. The difference between the price they set, not the price of production. Not the price of production, so we're talking about two prices here. We're talking about the price, the international price, which they imposed on the local petroleum market. They imposed that international price. And then we are talking about a government price, which is set by the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Finance on the wholesale and the retail price of the product. They set those prices. It has nothing to do with production. They set it. Of course, they would most likely have some idea of what it costs in the refinery and so on, right? But the overriding factor is that they have an international price imposition on fuels. They have imposed an international price on local consumption of fuel. And they have loaded it up with taxes and so on, from the excise duties to the road improvement tax and the value-added tax.